Hello friends, good morning. Welcome to my channel Essentials of Management. Friends, motto of this channel is to evolve high standards of education and training of the subject management science in general and that of environment, health and safety management in particular. So today we are going to continue with the series Industrial Safety Management. We will have discourse 19. From today onwards, for 4 to 5 discourses, we will try to discuss permit to work system. Today we will have part 1 of the total 5 parts of this topic, and we will try to understand what is permit to work system in this discourse. Please try to understand that immediately before this series of permit to work system, we have completed safe system of work, and in safe system of work we have understood that the permit to work system, lockout, tagout, personal protective equipment are part and parcel of the safe system of the work. So in that logical sequence, first we will look into the permit to work system, thereafter we will go to personal protective equipment, and then we will look into LOTO also. So if you see from the first discourse, if you look into our journey, we are going very logically from one chapter to another chapter of the safety management. Now there are circumstances where simple safety rules, we have safety rules in every organizations, or formal SOPs, like SOPs also we have. Every work what we do, every task, every job we do, there is a SOP. That there are circumstances where simple safety rules or formal SOPs are inadequate for an employer or management to be confident that adequate safety precautions will be taken on each and every occasion when a specific potentially hazardous operation is carried out. So please try to understand that there are always routine operations, whatever the operation generally which are carried out for producing the goods or for manufacturing, they are generally routine operations. But there are many operations which are non-routine, and it is very difficult to find out the lurking hazards or the specific potential hazard in those operations, and therefore the management has to be very cautious, and for that they adopt the permit to work procedure. So in such circumstances which are non-routine and there is a chance of potential hazards which may not be known, so in these limited circumstances a permit to work procedure is necessary. A permit to work is a written authorization for a person or persons to undertake a clearly specified operation. So there is a certain clearly specified operation, and whosoever is doing it, he has to get a written authorization first from the authorities before carrying out that operation. The permit to work document should set out the work to be done and precautions to be taken. So in that permit to work document, everything is specified in a detailed manner, very meticulously, that what work is to be carried out, what is the sequence of that work, and then for every step, for every task, what precautions are to be taken. That is documented before the work is started. So you have to get the permit first and then start on the work according to the instructions given in the permit. It should predetermine a safe system of work, and it will serve as a clear record that all foreseeable hazards have been anticipated and appropriate precautions defined and taken. So you try to brainstorm that what can be the foreseeable hazards, what hazards are lurking in these operations, and accordingly you give the safe system of work and you define the appropriate precautions which are to be taken while doing this operation. So I think you are trying to understand what is the requirement of permit to work system, why it is required. So a permit to work is the most formal safe system of work to help control higher risk engineering and maintenance activity. So generally in maintenance activities at many places the work permits are required. It is all about identifying the potential hazard, agreeing steps to overcome them, ensure everyone involved in the work understand what is required of them. This is very important, that the person who is going to carry out the operation or the team of the person who is going to carry out the operation must see the work permit, study the permit in a very meticulous manner, and then understand it and then do the required work. A work permit system is a formal written system used to control certain types of work that are considered non-routine and present potential hazards or take place in potentially hazardous work locations and work conditions. So when we will see the types of the permits, there we will see that how the permits are issued for the hazardous work location or hazardous jobs and so on. A work permit is a written document which specifically defines the work to be done and the specific precautions to be taken. I am repeating again and again to make you understand what is PTW. We must recognize that work permits are merely an administrative control. So this is a administrative control. In hierarchy of control, we have seen that after engineering control comes the administrative control. So work permit system is a part of administrative control and will only bring the level of safety desired, needed when the permit to work system is developed, implemented and managed properly. Try to understand the meaning of this sentence, that if you develop a work permit system, it should not remain only on paper. You have to follow that system in letter and spirit. So first you have to develop this system. After developing this system, you have to implement it religiously and manage the system properly. If you don't do it, the permit to work system will not work. It will fail. Okay. The purpose of PTW: to provide control over high risk activities. You understood it. To provide a checklist of things to be done to achieve a safe state of working both before a job is commenced and up until its completion. So just take an example that you are entering a confined space. So the work permit will define what are the actions to be taken. There will be a checklist, and accordingly you will check all the points before entering the confined space. You take the precautions before entering that space. So a checklist is different for every different operation or every different location, and accordingly you have to see that all precautions are being taken before the job is commenced. So that means, for example, if you enter the confined space, before entering the confined space you see that the space is purged, there is no harmful gases or liquids inside the vessel, and the oxygen level is at the required level. So unless you check it and enter into the confined space, you may face a problem, right? So this is the requirement of PTW, and this is the purpose of PTW: to provide for handover and handback of the equipment area. Means if some machine is to be maintained, so the operator or the supervisor of the section hand over that machine to the maintenance people. The maintenance people do the maintenance, required maintenance, check everything is okay after the maintenance, and then hand back that machine to that particular operator or the supervisor. Same is the case with certain equipment, or same is the case with certain area, because sometimes certain areas are to be taken under the PTW, and there other people apart from the required people are not allowed to enter. Okay, so consider that some work is being done in some section on scaffolding, so the barricading will be done and nobody will be allowed in that area to enter because work is being done on the scaffold. Okay, so to help ensure everyone involved in a job understands the risk, so everybody understands the risk involved, the precautions to be taken, and what is expected of them. So clearly everything is mentioned in the permit. One has to go through the permit, through the checklist, understand it, take the precautions, and then take the actions according to the actions given in or prescribed in the permit. Most importantly, carrying out potentially hazardous work without risk to the staff and others. So you are carrying out a work to minimize the risk for the staff and other people, damage to the equipment, building, product or environment. So you see that you are taking precaution that nothing is damaged by your reckless actions, and it is very important that you have to follow the statutory requirements, because at many work you need a permit. It is mandatory, prescribed in Factory Act as well as factory rules. As already said, permit is required when potentially hazardous work is not covered by SOP and normal safeguards are not in place to manage the risks associated with the work, or when new hazards are introduced created by the work. So again another example, if you have to do the maintenance of a machine, so maintenance people have to remove the guard. Sometimes they have to neutralize the interlocking arrangement because they have to work inside the machine, or they have to enter their hands or fingers inside the machine. So it is a risky job, a risk is associated with. So there is no standard SOP for that. There is no now normal safeguard which is there by having the permanent covering and the interlocking guards. You are removing it. So new hazards are introduced and created by this work, and therefore you have to take the extra precautions and you have to issue a permit. Some examples where permit is required for the jobs: if some contractors come to your place and their people are doing the work, then you are supposed to issue a permit or at least an authorization to the contractors, so they will work according to that authorization or the permit. Involving scaffolds, if you are working on a scaffolding, where an access is poor and there is a confined space. So both things are different. In some places the access is poor, like false ceiling. In false ceiling the access is very poor. Confined space means when you are entering a vessel. Breakdown maintenance of plants and equipment involving hazardous substances. That is, you are handling asbestos, you are handling formaldehyde. See, formaldehyde is used for fumigation. So if you are fumigating with the help of formaldehyde, then you have to issue a permit. Electrical work, particularly high voltage lines. Excavation, if you are excavating at some place, then permit is required. Tankard of hazardous chemicals or inflammables unloading. So unloading and loading of the inflammables and hazardous chemicals. Work at height and roofs. Hot work. So list is indicative and not exhaustive. We have taken 8 to 10 examples, but apart from that, many other permits are also required. The permit system should cover precise definition of activities to which the permit procedure applies. Identification of who is in control of the activities. There should be discussion at the place of work between the person normally responsible for the area and person in control of the activity. So there has to be interaction between the people who are working there and those people who have come from outside for that particular job. Hazard should be eliminated where practicable and precautions should be identified against any residual hazards. Confirmation that the precautions are taken. A time scale within which the work should be completed. Permit should not be issued for more than 1 day or 1 shift if shorter, and if work exceeds this period, the permit should be reissued. This is very important. We will discuss while doing the discussion of the issue of the permit. So single permit cannot continue for days together. You have to give the permit for the particular period for which the activity is being done. If that goes beyond the shift, you have to create a new permit. If that work goes beyond the day, you have to issue a new permit for that. Please keep this important point in mind. Means of monitoring that precautions continue to be taken should be provided. So there has to be certain way of monitoring and precaution must continue. It should ensure that the plant or area is safe when the job has been completed. So you have to check again that now everything is safe before you start the normal work. There should be a completion section for signing off the work. So at the end of the permit, there should be a completion section. The issuer and the one who is accepting the permit, both of them should come together, satisfy themselves that the work is completed, and then sign off. Both of them are supposed to sign off the permit. Thereafter, the HOD and the EHS section has to sign off after supervising and confirming it, and then there ends the permit which is issued. So friends, in this course, we have looked into or tried to understand exactly what is work to permit system and the detailing of it, that why it is it is to be issued, and then what are the requirements of PTW, and how the people who are involved in this permit to work system, what they are supposed to do. So friends, thank you very much for watching this discourse. Please resume your viewing and watching the videos. For that, switch on to discourse 20. Here we will discuss the types of the permits, different types of permits which are required to be issued. Friends, please do not forget to like, share, comment and subscribe to my channel. Once again, thank you very much. Have a good day.